Well, we're at Ballakermeen School. Ann Widdecombe with me again. I think last time we chatted, you were busy doing a certain dance show on television. You were rushing around a bit.
That was strictly necessary.
But you're here at Ballakermeen today. You were talking with some sixth formers and engaging them and you're actually trying to make them challenge you a bit. I think you like that, don't you?
Yes, and one or two of them did. There was one young man there who wasn't going to let me blame Labour for anything. So, I mean, he was very good. But they had a wide range of interests. Sometimes they get stuck on a particular type of question. But I thought it was all very reassuring.
What brings you back to the Isle of Man this time?
I'm addressing the Dining and Sporting Club tonight and giving an after-dinner speech, which I shall cover everything from politics to Strictly Come Dancing to some of the odder documentaries that I've done. And I hope everybody will have a very good time.
You see, you're retired, you keep telling us, and yet you're still doing all this media. And I know I've heard the interviews where you say, well, that just happens and I'm not necessarily looking for it. It just comes to me. Is that how it is going, your life?
Yes, I mean, that is how it is. I didn't quite know what was going to happen when I retired. I thought, well, I shall write books, which indeed I'm doing. I shall write books and I shall walk on Dartmoor and that'll be my life. But Strictly came along and sort of drove a coach and horses through that very peaceful prediction. After
all the time in politics, do you think, in a sense, that was probably a peak for a lot of people, and knowing who you were almost?
I think it probably was, actually, yes. And most people come up to me now and say, oh, you know, I loved you on Strictly. I think, yeah, and 23 years before that. But anyway, never mind.
The worry is, though, will you end up on that Splash programme or Jump? Or, I mean, do you still get asked to do Big Brother and things?
I've been plagued to do Big Brother, and I have always said no, even when I was offered a huge sum of money. I said a very firm no, because I think it's purely voyeuristic. I don't think there's any merit in the programme at all. I think it's a horrible programme. I might have done The Jungle had I not been so squeamish, but I'm very squeamish. I can't see myself eating those things.
The trouble is, everyone says they won't do it, then they put more money in front of you.
No, not for any sum of money would I do that. I wouldn't do Splash because I've got height phobia, so that's ruled out. And I wouldn't do Dancing on Ice because I have too much respect for my old bones. I can't sing, so I can't do the voice. There's nothing left.
I love how you know about all these shows, though. You're obviously keeping up to date with everything.
Well, I don't think you can avoid them because, of course, now they take up acres in the newspapers. Sometimes I think we've lost the distinction in what is real and what isn't, and reality shows are not reality.
Now, you come to our man quite often. What do you think about the situation? I mean, just with your politics head on, the offshore situation and everyone paying tax, that sort of thing. Do you see the Isle of Man as a bogey in this, or do you think that we have done the right thing?
No, I don't. I don't see you as a bogey at all. The fact is that if you want really serious enterprise and if you want to produce incentives to people to make a success of business, to make money, to employ, to do all those things, then they've got to have incentives. And I'm afraid that tax is always a very big disincentive, and I recognise that. I think if you're going to be in public life in Britain, you must pay all your taxes in Britain and no messing. But I don't have a view on what individual entrepreneurs do and the way they arrange their finances, providing only that it's lawful.
The moral question was a big thing, though, wasn't it? This the morality about paying tax.
There is a morality to paying tax, but there's also a huge morality to creating employment, creating jobs, taking risks sometimes in order to do so. And so I've always been a huge believer that you keep tax as low as you possibly can. It is a fact of life, it's an absolute fact of life, that when the Thatcher government reduced the top rate of tax from 63 to 40%, instead of having a drop in the intake from that earnings bracket, they had a huge increase. Why? Because suddenly it wasn't worth the offshore arrangements. It wasn't worth the complicated avoidance wheezes that your accountant thought up at tremendous cost. It was worth taking a risk. It was worth going the extra mile because you kept more of what you'd earn as a result of going for it. It made an enormous difference, and that alone should teach us that trying to take people's money away from them isn't the best way to generate an economy.
Well, I love that talking to you and listening to when you did with the school children. You've got an opinion about everything, and be it right or wrong, or you agree that you straight away you know where you are on things. Tonight, is that what they're going to expect? Besides, you doing a Q&A, for instance, as well? Will you be?
Oh, I should certainly be doing a Q&A. Yeah.
Anything in? Anything out? Are you allowed to talk to you about anything?
No, whatever they ask, I may or may not answer. I reserve the right not to answer, but I can't imagine they'll ask me anything like that.